Welcome to Rewired Inspired show. I am your host, Elena Petrescu, body mind connection expert, certified hypnotist, and numerologist. This is a show that is all about transformation, rewiring the mind, awakening the heart, and inspiring you to step into your highest potential. Each episode, we dive into powerful conversations with exceptional leaders, healers, and visionaries who've turned challenges into breakthroughs. Their stories remind us that change doesn't begin outside of us, it begins from within. So take a breath, open your heart, and get ready to be rewired, inspired. Because today, my guest is Karen Leslie. She's a stress recovery expert and she's combining over 25 years of working experience with energy. She will share the strategies that have helped her overcome numerous personal struggles to enable others to change how they're living. Karen works with people who desire to step into more in their life, but feel like there is something in their way, something blocking them. Often, Karen's clients hear themselves saying, "How did I get back here again?" By applying her knowledge about the nervous system and intuitive insights, Karen inspires, educates, and empowers individuals to become their healthiest selves in both their personal and professional life. Karen, welcome to the show. I am so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here with you. This will be a lot of fun.
That's right. And we're going to inspire the audiences at the same time. I like to
Yes.
start with the story. I like to know your story so that your audience can live vicariously through your story. How did you start this beautiful, journey about healing and energy? And how did you help yourself? So now you can help others.
I will do my best to keep it short because it's been a long journey, a super interesting journey, and a very successful one. Energy work, that aspect, I got into it because I had three young boys, and I thought taking energy courses, Reiki and things like that, I thought then I've got first aid in my hands when I've got three boys out playing all the time. That was my introduction. And then I started wondering, can this help with your mental emotional health? Because I was really struggling. I had decades of, clinical depression, anxiety disorders diagnosed, OCD. I had anorexia for a long time. So there was just a lot of stuff going on. And so I thought I'd explore it from this perspective. And it did help. But to be perfectly honest, Elena, it didn't hold. Like I would be okay for a while, and then I'd fall back into old patterns or old ways of thinking. So it was still a little bit frustrating. So I continued my search, and then I realized with another couple of courses I was taking that what if all of these thoughts that are going through my head aren't actually true? What if they don't belong to me? What if I've picked them up from elsewhere? And what if they are basically, truthfully, just lies?
Mm.
And it was when I was really struggling with suicidal thoughts that this aspect came in. And it was like a light bulb went off. And I was like, oh my gosh, what if all of this thought about, leaving the planet and leaving my family is been an influence from outside of me? And that just changed everything. When I started to work from that perspective, I was able to let all of that go. Now, it took a little bit of time. It wasn't overnight, that's for sure. But I'm free of all of that now. Even my quirky little OCD things are have disappeared in all kinds of aspects. And so I live a life now that truly I didn't know was possible. Again, it took a little bit of work because once I got over the suicidal aspect of things, that was when I turned 60. So I'm 67. So I'm relatively new in this way of living because I had my first suicidal thoughts when I was 16. So they hung around for a long time. So once all that left, then when I landed in depression again, it surprised me. I was like, but I thought this would all go away when I got rid of all of this way of thinking. What I then realized was, okay, actually, now the work's in front of me because now I have to make choices to design my life.
Mm.
I couldn't just coast or hide in the background anymore comfortably. Like that was where I loved to be. That no longer worked for me. And so I had these other conflicts come up like, all right, girl, you've chosen to stay. You've now chosen to tell the world that this is where you had been, so other people can gain a different perspective on how to look at their thoughts. But you have to step up to the plate and you have to start to dare to be Karen. And I'm still in that space today because I'm continuing to evolve and change and rewire how I think and how I look at life. And as a result, I have more and more aspirations. I have more dreams and more desires, which means I have to step up to the plate more on a continual basis. And it works. I can do it.
Beautiful. So, yes, it does require a certain awareness about what we think in the moment and how that can influence us. And you've managed to, you know, realize that my thinking is affecting my way of life. Did you include any techniques? Did you develop any strategies that you may want to share with us so that the listeners can relate a little bit? Because I'm sure there's so many listeners out there who can resonate with what you're saying because, you know, the way we think affects everything that we do. But the moment we bring awareness to that and decide that, I have a choice, I can change, but I need to do this, this, this. What did you find? What strategies did you integrate that helped you to transition? And I know it wasn't easy in the beginning, but small steps
Mhm.
took you where you were.
Yeah. And the biggest and what I found the most important thing for me to be able to continue forward in this journey was when I recognized how important the nervous system is. I had been working with clients and things was successful. I was doing things very successfully with repatterning our thought process, learning how to connect into your body. This was a really big one for me, understanding what was true for my body. So I learned, what is my yes? What is my no? And I was constantly asking yes and no questions, not open-ended ones. The mind has too much of a playground when it's open-ended. It's got to be yes or a no question. And then allowing my body to answer. So teaching people how to do that and then practicing so you can trust it.
Hmm?
But then it worked, but I knew there was still something missing. And that's when the nervous system, that information came forward for me. So we inherit our nervous system from our mother in utero. It is one aspect in utero when we're being all developed and coming into this amazing little person that is solely from one parent. We tend to think that we're a mix. Everything about us is a blend from our two parents, but our nervous system is just the mom. And so when you think about women in particular, but this fits for men because a son has his mother's nervous system as well. But as women, we have always had struggles. We have always been the primary person holding things together because of just how we are, how our brains are developed. We have generations upon generations of strife and difficulties. That doesn't go away just by being passed along. It doesn't diminish as it goes through from generation to generation. So when I think of my mom and who she was, she's now passed away, but her mental health, her physical health, my grandparents, my grandmothers, the wars they've been through, the plagues that they've been through, like just everything is still in that cellular memory. So we arrive with a lot more baggage than we think.
It's passed on, yes. So what I'm hearing, we inherit a kind of a lineage from our parents. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Talk about that. Yeah,
So when I would say this, when I would speak and I would say this to groups, you could see people's eyes kind of like, mm. Or the odd person would say, well, that explains a few things, you know? And so as a result, we live our life with far more fight or flight than we recognize because it's built into us. We know, especially after when the world kind of closed down for a little while, that fight or flight or freeze or fawn is now at a level it's never been at in our history.
agreed. Yeah,
Right. And people are struggling more with this. And for some who never experienced it very strongly, you know, they'd have moments where you'd be nervous about something or a little anxious about something. But now it's a bigger part of our life. So now our nervous system is fully on 24/7, scanning always to make sure we're safe. As long as our body is in that frequency, in that mode, our healing is greatly limited. So I now work with people first with their nervous system, getting it regulated, getting it to calm down. Because when we get our nervous system calmed, then we can go in time, not immediately, but we can go into rest and digest, which is where our healing occurs. And that's the whole premise of energy work, you know, to bring the body into rest and digest. So when you're receiving a treatment, whether it's in person or it's by distance or however that's working, you know, that's why you feel better afterwards. Many people say they feel lighter, they feel calmer, they're clearer in their thinking, but it doesn't hold because
yes.
the nervous system then goes back to where it was after the treatments are completed.
So what is the one process that you use to help that nervous system to maintain that level of calmness, to maintain that level of um, being in that instead of going into fight flight to trigger the sympathetic nerve to go into a parasympathetic nerve? What do you use? Do you use energy? Do you use do you work remotely with clients, or do you do face to face? What are the modalities that you use to help people maintain that nervous system into a place where they're grounded, they're balanced, they're um, more aware?
I teach physical techniques, hands-on techniques for them to do for themselves. Because
Okay.
from my perspective, it's really important that people have tools and techniques that are really easy to use, can be done very discreetly at any moment, and know they work so they feel empowered. I the, Ever since I started working with people, I've never wanted codependent relationships. I want to get them to this place where, okay, you've got this. Come back and see me again if you want, anytime, but you've got this. And so, yes, I start with easy tools, and I have so many that I work with ones that work with each person, what's easy. So, one of the ones I do, which is so simple, and I do it every morning in the shower, it starts my day, is I cross my hands, and underneath our collarbone, there's
Mhm.
a little indent. So, just crossing your hands, putting them over you, starts to help the nervous system to calm down. That energetic hug works. Now, for some people, I'll just say, just tap a couple of times. So I just call this like the butterfly tap, and that starts to calm. And then just taking your two fingers, just in that little indent, just gently do little circles. And people will find that they'll get a physical response. Like when I do it, like I just feel my shoulders drop. tension dropping. Some people will yawn, some people will sigh, but you just wait for that body's message. Oh, okay. And that's a great way to start your day. On my YouTube channel, there is a video that's there for everybody that they can go and look to. And it's just, I think it's called 7 Steps to Reduce Stress, of which these are, a number of them are there. So people can pick one or two that work well for them. But it's finding the ones that work for you. Now, if this spot's too tender, because for some people it will be tender, depending on, how you're doing. Another really great, just sort of quiet one is each of our fingers holds a different meridian and energy line. So by
Mhm.
just taking one hand and just holding, I start with the baby finger. And if you can hold it for about a minute, and you can do this with your hands in your lap, if you're in a meeting, you can do it somewhere, and nobody needs to know that you're actually calming your system. And then you just move from finger to finger,
Finger.
and you just hold
That's
it.
a
Yeah. It deals with stress, it deals with anxiety, it deals with grief, anger, like all of those things are addressed. You don't need to know which finger does what. You just hold them and you'll start to feel everything calming down. And you end with the thumb. And then it's ideal to go and do the other hand. And then if you need a little extra more, just take your thumb and put it in the palm of the opposite hand. Just gentle pressure. Just do a little circle. And that pressure point there helps to anchor it in even more.
that's very easy to do. And I love the fact that you said you want your clients to be independent, not codependent on you. I think that it's beautiful. And these exercises are very easy to do. Just like you said, they can have their hands in a meeting where they can easily, calm their nervous system if they need to. And do you find that once you give your clients these tools, what is their reaction in the moment? And how do they transition right after you work with them? Do you integrate anything else? Do you have a step one, step two, steps three that you find that as you're getting them to calm their nervous system, do you go deeper after that? What is the process? Just give us an example of how else would you continue once that nervous system is calmed and relaxed
Yeah.
so that the listeners can relate.
So usually it's like people are very surprised that something so simple can work.
Mhm.
And so it's like, it really is. It really is simple. Consistency is key. And I encourage people, this may sound a little odd, but talk to your nervous system. Talk to it out loud. Our nervous system really likes to hear our voice. That brings calm in as well. So let your nervous system know, hey, we've got this. Together we're healing. It is safe to heal and build this relationship. It's, when the nervous system kind of gets kind of jacked up and things, it's okay to say, oh, okay, thank you for the information. It's okay. It's safe for us to calm down. It's safe for us to come out of high alert. Whatever the words are that come forward will be the words that are correct for you in that moment. Just trust it. So when people get the sense of getting the nervous system calmed down, then that's when we can step into more deeper healing. So it seems like a very trivial way to start, but it really is so important. Then we look at, okay, so what are the thought patterns that are in your way that are causing you the stress, the old patterns that keep coming forward that get you saying, like, how did I get here again? Like, I really
Mhm.
thought I had gotten past this. And here I am again. Like, it's like we live our life sitting on a rocking chair. We rock forward and life's doing well. And then we're going back again. And then we're just constantly oscillating back and forth. And that causes frustration. Absolutely. So a lot with intuition, I will go in and ask questions as to, what is it that is causing these patterns. And then we go deeper underneath. Okay, so what is actually underneath that thought that's truly holding it in place?
Yes.
Where did it come from? Who did you get it from? And we start to unravel how it really isn't yours. It's a belief that you have adopted through family or culture or spirituality or anything, the radio, and then, a teacher you had in school that really made an impact. You can carry that thought with you. I remember a teacher from grade grade 8 and grade 9, a science teacher. That his words will still come forward into my thoughts. It can be a
Hmm.
long time ago.
And
And
that will trigger things for you, right? Because it's a trigger.
yep,
So, yeah, in hypnosis, we call that a trigger. And, your process is beautiful because they say all hypnosis is self hypnosis, what you tell yourself. But once you learn to talk to your nervous system, yes, I truly believe that you can shift and change. So by you uh, telling this to the audience, I think it's a huge nugget. They can integrate this, bring awareness, start talking to nervous system, bring the calmness. And yes, I mean, life is ups and downs. Otherwise, we would get bored if we didn't get ups and downs. Do you agree?
absolutely. Just the same way I'm glad all three of my sons are very different people because I think I'd be bored as a parent if they were all the same. I'd be the
Exactly.
same way in my life. And I had a teacher so many years ago say, as long as you've got a pulse, you'll have something you can work on,
You're fine, eh?
right? And we want to keep that pulse going. So you got to keep working ahead. It's when you start to move forward and see things from a different perspective, it really allows you to see just how much is out there. And when you can be in that place of being open to always allowing yourself to have a different perspective, because one of the problems is we find something that works and we lock into it. Okay, this is the way it is. This is how I'm going to believe. This is my new belief pattern now.
Yeah.
And we get ourselves back into the same situation again
Hmm.
because it's like putting on blinders, like the horses wear, right? Then you're only going to
Yeah.
look straight ahead. But the world offers us so many different ways of looking at the same thing. And it doesn't mean, I'm not saying, when you hear something new, you've got to go in that direction and you have to adopt what they're saying and
Yeah.
adapt it into your life. No, I'm saying allow yourself to be aware of it. Just spend a moment with it. Ask your body, is this true for me? If you get your no, like, cool,
Yeah.
just let it go. But if you get
Yeah.
a
You.
yes or you get a partial on it, you're kind of like, oh, so what is it about this? And then you just open yourself up to so much more that's out there. It there's times when, and this may sound a little weird, but where my vision, the actual vision in my eyes, brightens, that I actually see a color differently, or I'm able to look at the same garden and look at it and go, wow, that's really pretty today.
Hmm.
And it's all based on coming out of a set way of looking at life.
So open heart, open mind, embrace, and always, be in the moment. That's what I'm hearing from you. Stay in that present moment. Open your heart, open your mind,
Yeah.
and be open to the possibilities. Is that right?
Absolutely. There's so many more possibilities than our little mind can even understand.
That is so beautiful. Now you mentioned you have a YouTube channel and you have 7 different ways of helping someone calm their nervous system. Can you share with the audience if there was a message that you want to tell the listeners, something that you found profound that has worked for you on a much deeper level, and something that, when that happened to you, you realize, now I get it. Now I understand. What would that be, Karen?
Oh, so many are popping in. The first one is, what if everything I believed was not true?
Hmm.
Right? That scared me when I first thought of that because then I thought, but then there's there's nothing,
Hmm.
but it's actually the opposite.
And
So,
nothing for us is scary.
right, we don't want, well, the mind is programmed for us not to go there, right? As
Yeah.
you know, right?
Yeah.
It's designed to give us an answer, even if it lies on what the answer
Yeah.
is. It has to have resolution.
Hmm.
So getting into that place of some comfort, more comfort as you go along, right? Where you can be okay with, well, but what if that's not true?
Hmm.
And what is true for me? What brings me joy? What lights me up? What makes me want to get up in the morning?
Hmm.
What do I want to create today? And create can be making a beautiful batch of blueberry muffins. Create can be writing a book. Create can be making your bed. Like it can be anything. And we judge that word so much. We feel it has to be something big. No, every little thing that we create. And when we see that we've created it and we've accomplished it, we automatically get a reinforcement from our nervous system. We get the dopamine hits, we get the hormones working in our favor. Everything starts to come together. And the more you do that, when I realized that if I focused on what I want to create, then the sounds of doubt, they fade away. They may not go away, but they fade away. So I'm very close to sending my first book in for editing. I'm in some compilation books, but my first solo book is ready to go to edit. And I didn't pull the trigger on it for a few weeks. And I was like, what are you doing, girl? And then it
Hmm.
was, oh, wait, yeah, the doubts are there. Focus on what you want to create. I want this book out there. And then all of a
Hmm.
sudden, all the steps fell into place.
Follows through. They say where focus goes, energy flows.
Yeah.
Um, you mentioned so many beautiful things, but among all of them, what I also heard is that so many people right now are experiencing this fight flight. Do you believe that the energy in the universe is shifting? Do you also feel that there is a different consciousness coming about? And if that is the case, what does consciousness mean for you?
Yes, yes, and yes. So yes, I do. I really believe that the energy is shifting. One of the other areas I work in is I work with the full moon and new moon energies. I have
Mhm.
a membership group where I work with them. I teach people about, okay, here's what the energies are coming in. I do this with my clients too. Like, so we don't fight the energies. Let's learn to work with them. Let's understand them. So
Mhm.
we are in a huge change. Things are shifting big time from a planetary perspective, from a cultural perspective. The earth herself is changing. So we feel that as well because, we feel her heartbeat, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. And it's really uncomfortable for a lot of people because they're aware of something they don't understand.
Yeah.
They're aware of something that they may not have felt before. And for most of our nervous systems, right? That's going to be, okay, this is probably not a good thing. That's where our default is to go to this is a problem versus,
Also, we're going to stay in that safety comfort zone that, where we are so comfortable we don't want to change, right?
yeah, right? Stagnant,
Yeah.
right? Energy can't stop or be destroyed, but we can do our darndest to hold ourselves in place. And then really what starts happening is when we're feeling the energy, it's like it's bouncing against you harder. And so you close in even more, you bring your own energy in more, and then the energy comes towards you and it hits harder. And we just, without realizing it, build this loop that gets us more and more uncomfortable. It doesn't work the way the mind thinks it should. So, yes, things are shifting. Yes, I believe in consciousness, and I do believe that it is all shifting for our benefit. But before something new come in, the old's got to leave.
Hmm.
If you want a new couch, super. But
Gotta
if you
get rid
don't
of the
move the
old one.
other one, Are you just going to put it on top of the other? Like it doesn't work. So ending 2025 right now, the energies are very, very strong for closing a chapter. I also work with numerology and that. So we are closing a chapter and we're getting ready to write the next one. And what's
Mm,
really key is focusing on what do you want to create and
yes.
letting go of the heaviness of those same stories and those same thought patterns that are preventing you from really stepping into that
Who you
joy
are.
that's right, that's in you.
Yeah.
I believe we all carry that like a little pilot light within us. Some people call it the light of God, some people call it spirit. I don't care what you call it, but I believe there's that light in every one of us. And we have the ability, it's not anyone else, we have the ability to turn it up.
Yes.
And that's part of our job.
100%. So what does consciousness mean for you, Karen? I ask all my guests this question.
Consciousness to me, the first word that comes in was light and then followed by freedom.
Mhm.
It's it's a state to find within ourself, within myself. It's not something that anyone can give me. It's my job to be open to receiving it because consciousness is what is around us. It is all those tiny particles and atoms and neurons, everything here that makes all of us connected. The beauty of consciousness, though, is it allows, from my perspective, allows us to all be connected, yet to be individual,
Mhm.
yet to have that power and strength within us to be this individual body of energy that we came here to be, knowing we're supported by everything around us, knowing that that little light inside will never go out, even when the body decides it's tired and has had enough. We will always be here with each other. So it's kind of a wide answer, but it truly is. It's light and it's freedom, it's choice, but it's togetherness.
Beautiful. I do agree it is togetherness and it's how we're receiving it and staying it open. Karen, if the listeners want to connect with you, where can they go so that they can know more about what you do?
My website is currently being rebuilt, so it's not here at this moment, but it will be in January. And it will have the same domain, which is karenleslie.ca.
You want to
Um,
spell that for them?
yeah, it's
Um,
Karen is Karen, Leslie, Leslie .ca. And in the meantime, people can go to my YouTube channel. It's just under Karen Leslie. There's a lot of, I think I'm at 199 videos there. So there's a lot of information there. Um, there's a lot of, there's 98 videos there from a podcast I had done a couple of years ago with a lot of helpful information on thought patterns and repatterning. I have as well, I'm open and would love to have emails. That would be the best way to connect with me for the next few weeks. And it's the same thing. It's Karen at karenleslie.ca. And I'm happy to chat with people. I offer people to all the time, Alina, 30-minute free calls. We can just
hmm,
chat and I'm happy to answer some questions, give a couple of tools. Sometimes they don't need to come back because that 30 minutes can be enough to set them forward and it's awesome. And
yeah,
I'm totally good with that. Yeah.
that's beautiful.